Hi there, welcome to the eCommerce Nurse podcast, our 9th episode. I'm Karina McLeod, ex-Amazonian consultant and founder of eCommerce Nurse and Vendor Society. Today we're going to be talking about using pricing psychology to influence a customer's buying decision. We have a special guest, Paulina Mazon, an Amazon seller and founder of Shopkeeper. She calls herself a numbers girl. Her favorite topics are on optimizing profits, pricing strategies, cash flow management, and ways to save on Amazon fees. Paulina's talks are always very practical and full of actionable tips. So hi, Paulina. I'm really excited to be talking to you today, especially about a subject that I always have found very interesting when it comes to consumer behavior and psychology. So thank you.
Hi, Karina. Thanks for having me here.
Great. Well, with pricing psychology or pricing in general, we often speak with lots of brands about their pricing strategy, and so many of them talk about focusing their pricing strategy solely on margin. So when setting their prices for their products, they apply a markup, round it up, and voila. But many brands don't even consider consumer psychology or also don't really understand it. So it would be fantastic to start off, Paulina, if you could give us a bit more of an understanding into what pricing psychology actually means.
You know, pricing psychology entails a lot of things in it, but I guess the most interesting bit is that you can use a little bit of psychology when defining your prices for your Amazon products, for your e-commerce products on Shopify. You could actually use little tweaks that affect how the buyer is comprehending your price, how quickly they skim it, how quickly they comprehend it, and how much more likely they are convert or click into your listing. So there are little things with digits, with endings, with combinations of coupons and the dollar amounts that I can talk about that actually affect how you are comprehending the price and how more likely you are to convert into the listing, to be a click in. So if you want, I could go into a few of those strategies.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to hear that, because I think that's just something that we often miss. And as I said, brands get so focused on margin, or also get so focused on the competition, that you actually forget that there's that psychology, as you mentioned, with numbers that you could just tweak and you could help you drive more sales. So yes, please dive in.
All right. So, well, when bigger brands decide their pricing, they have a lot of different, more complex structures, right? They base it on previous history, on seasonality, on many different things. But us small private label sellers, when we are just opening our Shopify store, we are usually basing our decisions on the pricing on our personal financial limitations box, so to say. You know, it doesn't really... I'm not really talking about the income level. I'm more talking about the habits, our buying habits. There are 3 types of buyers that exist. So there are the bargain hunters. There are the big spenders who are not even looking on the price. And there's the average spender, right? So that first one is often called Scrooge. Maybe it's not a very nice word to use. But so those Scrooges are very often the richest ones, you know, so don't think about them as they're, you know, but in general, normally each of us are one type. For example, my brother is complete bargain hunter. Like whatever he buys, he would have these Google plugins, Google Chrome plugins that help him research any other price. And then he could ask for price match at these other stores and then get this coupon and then redemption back 5% back and all of these things, you know, he does. So it's really bargain hunter, you know, for any item. But I am more of a big spender, I would say. I am that kind who just looks at the first results of Amazon.com search results. I look through, I pretty much ignore the price unless it's really outrageous and just buy whichever matches the benefit that I'm looking for. So I'm more looking whether I'm going to like it, whether my friend's going to like it, or just at the benefit I am looking and not so much at the price. So there are there's been research done. How many percent, like what's the percentage of each type of buyer that exists in the e-commerce world? So I can tell you that big spenders, so people like me, there are 15% of them that exist. And those Scrooges, the bargain hunters, there's 24%. So in the middle, we have 61% left. And this is a big study that was done on many people. So it's pretty reliable when it comes, when you're looking at a global situation of what types of buyers exist. But I would say on Amazon, the data is a little bit skewed, just because Amazon as a platform was, it became of itself promoting as the cheapest place you can buy the lowest prices and the biggest selection, right? This was their motto before. So they attracted a lot of the bargain hunter types at first. So there's still a bigger percentage of them, and people are now expecting the price on Amazon to be lowest anywhere they can find, right? They're not maybe anymore so much in the recent years, but there's still that. So I would say the big spenders are less than 15% on Amazon. And in fact, probably it's skewed towards the average spender much more likely. So now that you know that system of the three buyers and three buyer types. Now, I was talking about the financial limitations box, and very often us private label sellers are just deciding, okay, I'm selling a knife sharpener, so let me think about it. Probably I would personally never spend more than $36 for a knife sharpener, because who would pay $45? No, that's too much. All right, my price will be $34,
Yeah.
And you just judge on your own feeling, and you go by the feeling and you just put that price there. Maybe look a little bit at the competitors, but mostly you decide by your own limitations. So my suggestion, the first suggestion is, before you even start thinking about your pricing strategy, try to climb out of that box. So ignore yourself and just look at the competition. Just open the first search results or on Google shopping feed, for example, if you are a Shopify seller, or on Amazon first search results, first page of results, and compare yourself to what exists currently. Maybe all of them are just serving the bargain hunters, and you could be the item for the luxury buyers. So you will have to decide your strategy from the very beginning before you even decide to manufacture your product. And that decision is going to affect the rest of the decisions that you will make regarding the price. What do I mean by that very quickly is that if you decide that everyone is playing the bargain hunter game and you want to be that targeting that big spender with the luxury buyer, so then when you go to your manufacturer, you will take the same knife sharpener item and you will say, all right, can we change the metal to be stainless steel? And how can we improve the handle? And how can we add like a luxury packaging to that? So you will be already creating your product with the pricing strategy in mind, right? So it's very important to do that early, that thinking about your prices. So that applies generally to anything, not only e-commerce. So whatever product you are creating, I think a very good approach is to first think about your buyer. Who is your buyer that you're targeting? And then you define your price. So now going a little bit to that pricing psychology, there are many different things that affect how many buyers will click into your listing or even notice you. So, online, whenever we are browsing, we have this scroll thing, right? With our finger on the phone, just scroll. And online, when we are on desktop computer, we also just keep scrolling. And when we scroll, we developed this sort of like a driving skill that drives for us automatically without even us realizing. We learned to look for things that hit our eye. So we're just skimming the prices. So mostly on Amazon, for example, when you're searching for an item, you first looking at the pictures only and ignoring the price completely. So you're skimming the pictures, and imagine products look pretty similar. So if they look like three different products and they look pretty similar, the next thing you're going to look at, you're quickly skimming the prices. And when you're quickly skimming them, there are many different things that automatically affect whether you're going to stick with it longer or shorter. So one very first basic thing is the comprehension and ease, the complexity of a price. So imagine a price if you are offering something like the price of $21.79 and a discount of 15%. That is very, very complex price. And I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna laugh that in my background at the moment I have police passing by plus the mosque is sounding prayer. There are two things on my mind at the same time. I'm trying to tell you about the complexity of the price, and it's actually matching the topic.
Yeah, well, they do say things come in three, so you might get a knock at the door in a minute.
You never know, right? So I was saying the complexity of the price is really important. If you're giving me a complex price like that, $21.79 with 15% off, I'll think, okay, 10% off is $2, 5% extra, another $1. Oh my God, like it just hurts. I want to move on to the next listing, which just says $21 round dollars price and save $3 round dollars off. So 21 price, $3 off. Immediately, I know that I'm paying 18. How quick and how easy, and you don't make me think about it too much, and my brain doesn't hurt from looking at it.
Yeah.
There was this one time I went to a coffee shop, and they had prices, instead of saying $3.50 for a latte, they just said like $2.71, and then something else was $4.11, and that made me like a little bit dizzy and something unusual about it. And when you're presenting your prices, you want to be the common, the ones that are easy to skim are usually the ones that we see the most. So whatever is the common ones that people use, endings of 99, presenting the prices simply, that's the ones you should go for if you want to ease the comprehension of the price.
Yeah,
that's very important for that.
Yeah, that's really interesting because you do sort of automatically start calculating in your mind when you look at prices, and it's an interesting point in terms of it's almost like a bit of a deterrent if you have to calculate too much. It's the simplicity, and I guess customers want simplicity.
That's right, and it's not only about calculating. Sometimes you don't even calculate. You just judge whether the discount that you get is good or not. Let me give you two examples. It's maybe easier to see visually, but I'll tell you on just try to imagine two prices next to each other. Both of them are $25.99. So on both sides, the price is same. But the discount on one is 40% off, and the other one is $10 off. Right. So which one now seems like a better deal to you? 25 with 40% or 25 with $10 off? Which one is the better deal?
I'd definitely go for the dollar off. I can't calculate 40% off right now.
That's interesting that you say that. Actually, the research shows, this is not my research, but I based it on someone else's research. They say that the bigger the number, like the 40% is bigger. The 40 is bigger than 10. So it seems more significant. Like when you look at it, let's say if a different example, I would give you some price, and then the discount is either 22% off or $100 off. Right away, because $100 is more digits in it, it seems like more significant discount. So very often people don't even do the calculation. They just sort of judge it from the millisecond that you can't even explain. There is no time to do the calculation. So that's while they're still skimming, not really choosing side by side.
Yeah, true. Interesting. Yeah. Didn't really think of it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to note about the percentage off and the dollar off, that there are many different strategies online that they recommend. Like if your item is more than $100, then do percentage because it will appear more significant, something like that. There are strategies like this, but I discovered in my personal experience that it's much better to just go with the feeling. And that feeling is, it's just you look at both and feel. I guess it's not mathematical enough for some people, and that could get a little bit confusing. Like, I can't feel the price. What's, this or that. Just like I mentioned, look at which one is a bigger bargain. Seems like a bigger bargain. $100 definitely seems like a bigger bargain than 22%. So use that. Go with that little bit of a feeling that you have, not even knowing it. The comprehension of the price, I shouldn't forget to mention, there is one more interesting thing. You know how I said the very nice easy price is to use $21 price and $3 off. Really nice, because you can quickly tell that it's $18 you're paying. But now imagine, what if instead of $3 off, I would say save $4 with a coupon. So 21 price is still, but now save $4. So now which one is better to use? Is it $4 better to use because it's a bigger discount, or $3 is it better to use? What do you think?
Yeah,
21 with 4?
Yeah, it's well, for starters, I'm intrigued by both of them because if there's a discount.
Right.
So, but I would want to go for the one with the bigger, if they're the same price, the one with the bigger coupon, the bigger discount.
That's right. That seems like when you are the seller, it seems like the right thing to do. The bigger the discount, the better.
Yeah.
But in reality, you will not be placed next to another listing which has 21 with $3 off. So the $4 will not be really compared to anything that is next to it that would be $3. But now what you're doing with $4 is actually you are making comprehension more difficult. Why? Because to calculate it quickly, okay, $21 for minus 4, okay, 1 to the side and then minus 3, 17. See, you had to do that 1 to the side and then it's 17. And that is additional little step that we have to do. Now, why this happens is because since we were little kids, we were taught multiplication table. 1 times 7 is 7, 2 times 7 is 14, 3 times 7, 21. Because of that multiplication table being in us so deeply, when we look at the price 21 and 3, so 3 is a multiple in the 21, it's so much easier to quickly calculate what the price you are paying, that it's much more beneficial to use the multiples when you are doing the coupon amounts rather than the $4, which seems like a bit bigger discount, but it's actually harder to calculate.
Yeah.
So
sure.
it's a nice trick to use, to always try to come up with the nice complementary numbers that divide with each other equally. So that's a nice psychological trick to do as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess those are things. I mean, I've sold a few things, and I mean, was a buyer for years, but it's really interesting because they're just things that I just wouldn't necessarily think of, but at the same time make sense as a consumer.
That's right. There's also this. Everyone is asking. Usually, I give this talk on this topic at different Amazon conferences, and the sellers come to me after my talk and show me their phone, and we look at their competitors and we decide what price should be best for them. And very often they ask me the question, what should be the ending of their price? Should they use the 99 cents, that everyone is using around the world? Or should they not use it? Should they come up with something more interesting, 77 or something, more fun? So my answer to that is that, everyone in all the retail stores around the world are using 99, 99, 99. And what happened to us psychologically as consumers? Well, we became conditioned to think that 99 ending implies some sort of a bargain. It's like as if you are getting a better deal than non-99 ending. So unfortunately, that makes sense. And when you are comparing two prices, $29.99 to $30, well, the first one is 20 something, the other one is 30 something. 20 something and 30 something is a big difference. So it makes sense to use 99 to drop $1 down. But actually that's pretty basic, and that's not what I wanted to tell you. Actually, because we are seeing 99 so much and we believe it's a better bargain, unfortunately, better bargain often means lower quality item. So now that 99 became associated in our mind with lower quality item automatically. Now, you could play on this game very nicely if you're selling luxury items and you're targeting buyers like me who are not really price sensitive, and you want to position your same product but more as a luxury item, like you're selling a jewelry box, let's say, and you want to position it like it's a luxury jewelry box. I would highly recommend ending your prices in 00 rather than 99, 98, 95. And that 00 makes you feel like, oh, something is a little bit different. That's not 99, so it's not a bargain. So must be good then. So must be something better, and then you start to believe that it's a little bit better. It's just these things you don't even consider in those words that I described. It just happens in your mind automatically. It's a little bit different, something with the 00. Oh, so must be better than the bargain one. So must be not such a low quality item. So you can play on those endings a little bit with that as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Because I was going to ask a question in terms of, is there a different strategy between more high ticket items, as you mentioned, luxury versus lower price point, and you've just answered that in terms of the 00 versus 99. I guess, how does it work then? I know if we use Amazon as an example, who's so with the buy box and everybody battling to win the buy box, and with competitive pricing, is there a point where customers, how does it really fit in with Amazon's model, or is it very much only really fits in when you're thinking about products where there is no competition?
Well, in fact, on Amazon, many buyers don't even see the competing sellers' prices. Well, it does affect your ranking and whether you're going to win the buy box. But the buyers, like 99% of the buyers, don't even know that they're buying from different seller. They're just buying from a listing, and that's it. They don't click that button, see all sellers, and very few people actually do that. So your price in that game between the other sellers in the buy box, it doesn't really matter. Psychology is not going to play the game there, but psychology does play the game when you win the buy box. So there are some strategies about to buy box is not only important for those sellers that are resellers. Very often when you are reselling some brands, like you are authorized to be a dealer or a distributor, you are actually reselling other brands. I don't know, Adidas, Nike, something else. And then there are many, many sellers on that listing. But when you're a private label seller, you are pretty much the only seller on the buy box. But in fact, you can lose your buy box if you're not careful with your price. And many people ask me, well, Paulina, how can I lose my buy box if I'm like the only seller on that buy box? What happens? How does this happen, that losing? Well, actually, if you raise your price on Amazon too quickly, and Amazon takes away your buy box, and that happens, it's just that instead of add to cart button inside the listing, suddenly it switches to see all buying options, and then there's no more price, it just says see all sellers, and that completely kills your conversions if you do that. So when you are starting, like I said in the beginning, you have to come up with a good strategy for your price. So basically, when you're starting your price, you could have your floor, like the bottom break-even price, and you could have your dream 40% margin price. Don't start very low. Many people start low thinking that I will launch the product nicely and then I will raise the price. Actually, if you start super low at $12.99, to go to like $40, it's going to be a long, long journey ahead. You'll have to raise 50 cents today, check if you didn't lose the buy box. Wait a couple of days, raise again another 50 cents. And that is very painful to do that. So be careful when you are deciding your beginning prices.
That's a really good point, because we've seen it happen, and you put the warnings out there and say be careful, and then you get some sellers go no, we've got it covered, and then it's like, oh, we've lost the buy box. So as you say, you've got to be careful in terms of, I guess, not playing around too much, because it's a slap on the wrist from Amazon, because they don't like that.
That's right. They want the prices to be, well, you can drop the price as fast as you can, but you can't raise back up. I forgot to mention one interesting bit about pricing psychology, about the nines. Those 99 endings that I mentioned that psychologically conditioned us to believe that it's some sort of bargain? Actually, you could use the number 9 in your prices to make people feel like it's the better bargain. So, for example, if you have a price of 39, they will feel it's a better deal than 34 because they're skimming the prices and there's a 9 in it, and 9 is like associated with the deal. And sometimes you cannot really jump, your margins don't allow, and competition doesn't allow you to jump $5 from 34 to 39. In that case, I would say jump to the 5, 7, or 9. So if you have 34, you could jump to 35. And again, because I think Walmart or Best Buy is using a lot 5s in the end. Instead of 99, they say 95. And there are internet marketers online, they're using sevens in the end a lot. If you bought a course before or have seen prices of any digital products, they have a lot of 7 endings and that 7, 5, and 9, those are so-called charm price digits. So charm digits, if you use those in your prices, especially the 9, is very, very appealing to the eye when you're quickly skimming. And again, they're more likely to hold their sight on your listing and click into it.
Oh, it's interesting. It's interesting how things are just automatically programmed in us like that. Right. And we don't even realize that. It's just something that's automatic because, yeah, definitely. Because people have often thought, well, we'll move away from 99 because I know in the UK, we don't want to deal with pennies anymore. So maybe we'll go to 95, but I guess there's still a 9 in there as well.
That's right. And so you're removing the pennies, right? It's going to be just the 5s. That's still going to work, 95, because 5 is a charm number, like I said, and many big companies and retail stores are using 95 in the end. Yeah. So it's still in us. That 5, 7, and 9 is in us, so you use it as well. But avoid the weird endings, I would say. Mm-hmm. You know, those unusual endings, like some people come up with 0.11, 0.27, if you actually look at prices, 29.11 or 29.27, 29.65, they all look like 29 something to the buyer. They don't really consider the cents. They just read from left to right, 29 something, 29 something, 29 something. They all are very similar. So when you add up the cents at the end of the year, how much profit you could make extra, so I would say don't play with those. Just make it pretty high in a sense, either 95 or 99. Some people do 98 to play on an even and odd number. Yeah. So there's again that bit of psychology. Like I said, 00 implies luxury. So that is, and then 5, 7, and 9 are actually odd numbers, odd digits, right? So then somehow we associate all the odd digits now with the bargain and all the non-odd ones with a little bit, looks different. So must be better, must be not so cheap, So if it's not so cheap, must be more luxury. So some people play up on the even number and they use 29.98 in the end, So I have seen this amongst the Amazon sellers using the 8 at the end, trying to luxurize the item when there is not much space and competitors are really, really pressing you, or you're competing for buy box, like you said. So just switching one digit up in the end as well. There's a lot of those little strategies, that you could...
Completely. My brain's ticking away, thinking about, that's a good idea. Maybe we should apply that. I guess we talked about, you mentioned about, not going in too low at the start. And of course, if you increase your prices too much, you'll almost be penalized by Amazon. Is there something, I guess there's that part where then there's the coupons and the promotions, which you touched on a bit earlier. Is there any more psychology around, okay, having a price that's $20 or a price that's that was and now versus and showing a discount versus your everyday low price?
Having a discount is very, very important, especially on Amazon, because they recently switched the coupon color. So when you're offering a coupon, it used to be orange. And all Amazon branding is oranges, orange everywhere. So it used to blend in and nobody would notice the coupon. But now they switched it up to green. So now green contrasts with all those oranges so well that whenever you enable a coupon on your listing, automatically the eye of the skimmer hits your listing so much more. If you would visually look at the search results, you would see what I mean. The green just stands out so much. And then you could realistically, if you enable the coupons on all of your listings, you could have additional sessions, number of sessions, number of clicks into your listing just because you are attracting them with that. And additional second on your listing means, extra traffic, and extra traffic equals to more conversions on Amazon. That's how it works. You just want to get the most eyes possible to your listing. So highly recommend enabling the coupons. Actually, they're not available in all the marketplaces yet, but United States and Canada, it's been there for a while. And just about 8 months ago, I think they enabled it on UK, Germany, and France as well, and in Japan. And there on those marketplaces, sellers are not using them that much. So highly recommending to enable them as well.
And
Just
how
for that effect.
about time-based promotions versus coupons? So coupons attract that the customer's attention, and it's interesting how you mentioned that Amazon went from orange to green. How about the whole time-based things, like with lightning deals? You know, it's 7 days, or the 7-day deal, or deal of the day.
In my experience, lightning deals have lost their power since they're accepting so many deals. And I guess, well, they do still work for certain categories, but if your product is sort of have a general appeal, then it has higher likelihood for success on a lightning deal or those other promotions that like Amazon native promotions. Usually, if you're selling something more specific, you know, like nails or I don't know, something that is just a part of something, a component that people usually search for, it's not gonna really work that well with the lightning deals. But there are some time sensitive things that you could do to your listing. For example, you know, when you run out of stock, you run out of stock, you have like 10 units left, then Amazon starts showing, you know, only 10 units left, very big letters. And that encourages people to buy, and, you know, time pressure happens there. So there are actually ways that you could show that. So I wouldn't say do it on every product that you run, especially if it's high volume product and just today you're going to sell 50 units, then it's not going to really work for you. But if you're a struggling beginner who just has one sale yesterday and maybe one sale next week, you know, and you're just trying to get there, it's a good idea to just lock your inventory. So on Seller Central, there's an option to create a removal order and just not remove it, but press a hold button. So you hold it for 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks, there will be only 10 units left. And then you will have that little bit of extra time pressure, you know, so again, psychologically influencing the buyer to buy more. But that's a game of like, this is only a game for beginner. Once you get into high volume, you know, you don't want to spend your time every 2 weeks going there to re-enable the hold and then push it back. And then, you know, it's just too much playing with that. But in the beginning, it really helps. Every little bit helps. So you switch up your prices to be easier comprehensible. You enable the coupons on all of them. Then you also do all those little switches, that I've talked about. In addition to that, you know, and it's just a total sum of everything that you do really helps. You know, it's not just one little thing that's going to move it, but all of these things together, they can move the needle for you.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's an interesting tip that I've never heard of. But as you before, but as you say, very much for those of beginners, because it requires a lot of manual work. And I guess there's a point of, I don't know, Amazon systems or Amazon cottoning on to that strategy as well at some point.
That's true. I guess it could be considered something a little bit with bad karma in it, you know, but it's not really anything that you're doing badly. You are just, you know, Amazon does want more sales, right? Yeah. And you are just holding the rest of the inventory, thinking whether you should remove it or not remove it. And it's like a normal process that normally happens. And then once you get a little bit more sales, more power, and then you just release the rest of the items and you sell them out. Yeah. You know, I would say it's a good idea. There is another thing you can do with promotions. You can stack multiple ones. So on Amazon, there are these promotions in addition to coupons when you can say, save 5% on this product if you buy more than 1 unit, or then, you know, receive free item of this item if you buy another one of this item. So you could create more than 5 promotions. Usually new sellers just create one type of promotion and that's it. But actually there's this trick that you can do. If you create more than 5, then it takes significant space on the listing, and that then again hits your eye, makes them read it, then they analyze those discounts. All you want is the person to spend as much time in your listing as possible. And that's like with any negotiating strategy, they say the more you hold the buyer asking questions, spending time, interested, investing their time in it, the more likely they will buy. And same applies to the listing. The longer you can keep them in there with interesting things like interesting promotions, so you're stacking at least 5 promotions on top of each other, then you're keeping them longer, and the longer you keep them, more conversions you will have. So
longer engagement. And I guess loads of Amazon sellers that loads of sellers working with Amazon already do fulfillment by Amazon, but there are some we speak to where FBA just doesn't work for them, and they end up shipping their own orders, or let's say they have an account off of Amazon. It's not solely Amazon, like as you mentioned on Shopify.
Right.
And when it comes to shipping, is there a rule in terms of always offer free shipping, or because sometimes that's not always possible with some sellers?
Yeah, when you're doing self-fulfilled, so there's the seller-fulfilled Prime, and there's also merchant-fulfilled things. And when you're using third-party warehouses, or whether you're shipping from your own house, well, shipping is going to be very expensive. I mean, Amazon has such good deal with UPS and FedEx, that you can't really find a better deal than that anywhere at all. So it's really hard to even be this merchant fulfilled seller, but there are of course many successful sellers that do fulfill from their own warehouses. But I am personally just sending everything to Amazon FBA warehouse. And now I'm very excited that Shopify has announced the new fulfillment warehouse as well. So I have still to test that. But for now, I've been fulfilling my Shopify orders from Amazon warehouse. So basically when a Shopify order comes in, I have an automatic connection that a fulfillment order gets created. There's an app, there's a plugin that does that, and it automatically creates a fulfillment order from Amazon warehouse, and it gets shipped automatically to the Shopify buyer. So both Shopify and Amazon are using the same FBA warehouse. Now, your question was more about maybe the pricing strategy, about how does it complement the price, that free shipping amount. There's one thing that you could play with that free shipping threshold that Amazon has. You know how if you're not a Prime member, you have to buy at least $25 worth of items if you want to get free shipping from Amazon USA. And the same like in Mexico, 500 Mexican dollars you have to spend to get it free shipped. Now, you as a seller could use that to your advantage. There was this time that I'm selling dresses as a seller, so I'm in apparel, dresses and purses. And I was selling this dress for $20.99. And I was thinking, wait a minute. So how much they're going to pay if they're not a Prime member? And I calculated they're going to pay $5.50. So it's going to be like $26.50 in total for my item. I was thinking, wait a minute. So I will rather charge $25.99, just a little bit above the free shipping threshold. And then the customer will actually pay nothing for shipping. So they will pay 50 cents less than they would, with the shipping. So I was thinking, all right, then I'm going to just increase my prices of all of my items to be a little bit those free shipping thresholds. And then I realized that boost was more significant than I was hoping. Sometimes you will not be able to jump the $5 that I did. In dresses and apparel, you can do that. But if you're fighting for the price, just look at those prices that are just a little bit below the thresholds. So like $24 or $23, just raise it above the 25. So go $1 or $2 up. And what that does is not only that it helps the buyer to pay less, because nobody really calculates the shipping until they click on it, but there is this feature on Amazon sidebar, free shipping checkbox, and that is probably one of the most popular features on Amazon.com, is that they check that checkbox to see all of the listings that have free shipping available, and then suddenly you are in many, many more search results in that popular feature. And that's where you want to be. So it helps you not only to, influence the buyer in terms of final price, but also help with your visibility for more buyers. So it's really a nice little tip that you could use as well.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And that's also made me think that you could also, I guess, apply that when it comes to the add-ons, when products are that little bit too low that they don't even become Prime eligible.
Oh, right. Those add-ons that we don't ever want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this add-on, someone called it add-on slap. Amazon, just for those who don't know, add-on tag appears on your listing whenever Amazon feels like their cost will be higher than the fees you're paying them. So whenever they feel like they're going to lose money on your item, they will put the add-on tag. And that means that the buyer will have to purchase an additional item together with that if they want it to get shipped to them. So they cannot buy an add-on item on its own. And that kills your conversions again completely, so it's pretty bad. So not to be an add-on item, what you can do is, not to have items less than $10. For that, you could either bundle them, make them more luxury or things like that. So just in general, less than $10 space is very hard to be in as a beginner, because there's like 50 some profit that you make from each item, and you have no space for returns, for PPC, for anything at all. So I wouldn't even recommend having items less than $10 when you start. And try to, I guess, I don't know, not to have very heavy items that are low priced. So if you have like a heavy frying pan, but you're pricing it only $15, for Amazon, it might be very expensive to ship that heavy item, and then it's going to be not worth. So if you have something heavy, also try to just, bundle it with something else. If it's a frying pan, bundle it with a few handles or something else in the set, 2 pans together of different sizes, that there would be, $36 together. And then you will never get this add-on slap, like they say, that we really, really want to avoid.
I like that. I think I'm gonna use that now, the add-on slap. I've never heard that, but it's completely true. Great. Well, thank you so much. I found it really insightful, and it's actually got my brain ticking about, things that we probably have never even tried or even considered with some of our clients. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. I guess before signing off, I always have one last question for our guests. And it would be that if you were to give one tip to a new brand devising their pricing strategy, what would it be?
Most importantly, base all your pricing decisions on competitors, not on your own systems and decisions. And when you're looking at competitors, be careful not to judge on the today's snapshot, right? Because it could be historical average could be different. And today they could be running a promotion, running a low on stock, or not even appear on the listing results as well. So you have to analyze very carefully who your closest competitors are, let's say 20 of them, and put on a spreadsheet their historical averages. You can use tools like Jungle Scout to look up historical averages for that. And just look at that when you are basing your initial pricing decision. So when you're thinking of your strategy, then you will see what everybody's offering. From that, you will decide which bucket of buyers they're targeting, those, Scrooges or the bargain hunters or the big spenders. And from that, you will see where you have the space left for you, to be an entrepreneur in. And from that, you can decide, even if you're a big brand and you're thinking about a new product, it's still a very good idea to think from that point first. And that's what I would recommend.
Great. Thank you so much. That's really, really helpful. And as I said, thank you so much for being an amazing guest today and for sharing all your tips with our listeners. And hopefully this is giving them some really valuable information. They'll probably be able to go away and start devising their own pricing strategy to boost conversion and ultimately sales within Amazon or their online stores, or even within their bricks and mortar stores. So thank you.
Thank you, Karina. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Have a good evening.